Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tare, where I've been featuring personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And today I'm up to song number 2578, and that one is Come Dancing by the Kinks. This came out in 1983. Well, actually came out in 82, but it peaked, I think, at number 6 in 1983, one of their later hits. I'll get into the Kinks later, but this was also released on their 1982 album called State of Confusion. And here's a picture of the Kinks kind of early on. Uh, I'll get into them later. First, I want to talk about this song "Come Dancing." I remember when it was a hit. I was at the University of Michigan and I saw the video a few times. It's a good video. I think when I watched it, though, I didn't really understand what it was about. I mean, they show a couple doing some ballroom dancing, and I guess the man is, getting all prepped up to go dancing with this woman. They go out ballroom dancing is kind of a regular thing, and he's trying to make a good impression on her, and I guess she's trying to make a good impression on him. And actually, I learned something interesting. I learned something new today. I looked this up. This song was based on Ray Davies' sister. Ray Davies, he was the one of the founding members and the lead singer of the Kinks, and he wrote this song. I think he wrote most of the songs for the Kinks, and this song was actually based on a personal experience of his. He had a sister who died when he was only 13, on his 13th birthday, and I think it was June. I wrote down the date here somewhere. Yeah, June 21st, 1957. I guess he had just turned 13, and his sister was older. I don't know how old exactly. I guess she was maybe a young woman, and she used to like to go out dancing with all these guys. And I think that's kind of was the inspiration for the song. It's about a man whose sister used to go out dancing every weekend, and she liked to go ballroom dancing. And the song is a little different though, because what happened in real life was that his sister died while she was dancing on the dance floor. She died of rheumatic fever, which must have been really tragic for Ray. But he changed the song. It wasn't autobiographical exactly. It was about a man who's dating, I guess a young man dating, or it's about his sister. He's supposed to be. He sings it in the first person. He's saying his sister is dating all these guys and going out dancing with him, and then later they tore down the pally, he calls it, which is I guess the dance hall that they used to have back in the 50s. Times have changed. They made it into a bowling alley at one point, and then they just tore the whole thing down, and now it's a parking lot. So it's kind of a nostalgia song where he's kind of reminiscing about the good old days in the 50s when his sister was out, dancing at this ballroom club, and he doesn't mention that it's really his sister really died. But that was the inspiration for this song, and I think it's a really good song. And even the story he portrays in the song, even though it's not completely true, is still very moving. So I like this song, and it was also it was tied with "Tired of Waiting for You" was the biggest hit for the Kinks. They went to number 6, and the only other song that went that high was "Tired of Waiting for You," one of their early songs. So now I'm just going to talk about the band, the Kinks, and like I said, this is a picture of them early on. They were a big British band, big British invasion band, one of the early British invasion bands, actually. And they were kind of unique. I wouldn't say that they were like trying to copy the Beatles or, there were a lot of British bands that were sort of kind of like the Beatles. I mean, I think I featured one by Jerry and the Pacemakers, recently. And there was also, the Dave Clark Five and, I don't know. I mean, the Searchers and the Fortunes, and I think most of them were sort of more like the Beatles or maybe wannabe Beatles. But I think the Kinks were really unique. I mean, the Kinks they had their own style. I mean, they were very satirical. A lot of the songs are very satirical. And a lot of they sang about just kind of relevant topics in their lives, and they had kind of a unique style. I really liked them. And now I'm just gonna go through their hits. Oh, and maybe I should mention who their members were. So they got started in 1963, and they were together until 1997. They had a very long run, and they actually went through several different name changes. They started out as the Ray Davies Quintet, and then they became the Ramrods in '63, and then the Pete Qualif band. I guess Pete Qualif was one of the other members, also in '63. Then they were the Ravens from '63 to '64 finally, and then they were the Boll Weevils in '64. Finally, they became the Kinks in '64. And the original members included the brothers Ray Davies as well as his brother Dave Davies. Ray Davies, like I said, was the lead singer, also the chief songwriter, and he also played the guitar. And I guess his brother Dave played the bass, and Pete Qualif, he was the no, Pete Qualif played the bass. I'm not sure what Dave Davies did, but Dave Davies was lead guitar. And they also had Mick Avery, who was on drums. So that was the original lineup of the Kinks. And now I'm just going to go through their hits. So they had a lot of hits, so bear with me. It might take a little bit of time. But their first hit, which was also a number one in the UK, they had a couple number ones in their native UK. And their first hit, which is also probably their most well known, was in 1964. That was called You Really Got Me. And that one went to number seven in the USA. It wasn't their biggest hit in the USA. It was pretty close. But their next hit was later in '64. They had All Day and All of the Night, which also went to number seven in the USA. It just missed the top spot in the UK, went to number two. Then the following year, 1965, they had their biggest hit, tied with Come Dancing, at least in the USA. And that was also a number one. And it went to number six in the USA. That was Tired of Waiting for You. And then later that year, they had Set Me Free. I'm just going to say how high they went on the US charts on Billboard. So Set Me Free went to number 23. Who Will Be the Next in Line went to 34. A Well Respected Man, that's one I really like of theirs, a very satirical song about this conservative asshole. That one went to number 13. Then they had Till the End of the Day, which went to 50. And then 1966, they had Dedicated Follower of Fashion, which went to 36. Sunny Afternoon, which went to number 14. Dead End Street, which went to 73. Mr. Pleasant, which went to number 80. And Victoria, which went to 62. And then in 1970, they had one of my favorites of theirs, Lola. That went to number 9. I think I should mention something about Lola. That is what coming up my list. Some of these, a lot of there's a lot of songs coming up by the Kinks on my list. This is just the first of many. But Lola, I think, is a really interesting song. It's about a cross-dressing homosexual, and it's one of the first. I think it's the first song I know, first popular song about homosexuality, where they specifically mention homosexuality. I know a couple earlier songs about drag queens. There were a couple by the Beatles. There was Obla Di Obla Da and Get Back. But this is the first one I know about actually a gay couple. And then they had Eight Man, which went to number 45. And then in 1977, they had a pretty big hiatus during the 70s, I guess. But their next hit was Sleepwalker, which went in '77, which went to number 48. In 1978, they had a Rock and Roll Fantasy, which went to number 30. And then in '79, they had Wish I Could Fly Like Superman, which just missed the top 40, went to number 41. And then in 1980, I think they had a little bit of a revival in the 80s. In 1980, they had Celluloid Heroes, which went to number 80. In 1981, they had Better Things, which went to 46, and Destroyer, which went to 80. And then in 1983, they had the song I'm featuring today, Come Dancing, which went to number 6. And later that year, they had Don't Forget to Dance, which went to 29. In 1984, they had Do It Again, which went to 41. In 1991, they had Did Ya, which went to 48. And finally, in 1993, they had Hatred, which went to number 19. So those were all the hits for the Kinks. And like I said, very prolific band and one of my favorites. And I guess that concludes my video. That concludes my feature of Come Dancing by the Kinks. So thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.